and gentlemen, I'd like to call this meeting to order. Welcome everybody here today for our December 12, 2024 board meeting. Our first item on our agenda today is the invocation by Pastor Lee Farmer.
Good evening, folks.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Let me pray. Gracious God, thank you for blessings. Thank you for this amazing community that we get to be a part of. We thank you for this season of holidays and holy days. And we're reminded, Father, of the importance of compassion, mercy, and grace. And although for many of us this is an exciting time of the year, help us to be aware that for many it's a difficult time of the year. Let us extend our compassion and mercy as well. As our Board of Supervisors represent our community tonight and discuss our business, would you please guide them with wisdom and compassion as they make decisions for us? For it's in your name that I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Let's all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. All right. Next is the approval of the agenda. Do we have any additions or deletions to the agenda? Any board members have any changes? All right, does staff have any changes? All right. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda as it is?
Move we approve. Second it.
Got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. Next, we have the approval of the minutes. Mr. Tadlock, we have 3 sets of minutes. Do you want them all approved together or separately?
In the minutes, we typically do those separately. So
All right, fine. All right, we have a set of minutes for November the 14th, 2024. It's our regular board meeting. Any additions or changes to that? If not, I'll accept the motion to approve.
Motion to approve. Second.
I got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, next is November the 19th, 2024 special meeting. Any additions or changes to that? If not, I'll accept the motion for that.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Also have a November the 21st, 2024 special meeting. Any additions or changes to that? If not, I'll accept the motion to that.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, next item would be our presentations. We have Northumberland Public Library. Ms. Blue?
Good evening, and thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to come before you and tell you a little bit about where we are with respect to our Pocket Park. And thank you, Mr. Brand, for suggesting this. I appreciate the fact that you are interested in what we do at Northumberland Public Library and specifically that you support us in everything that we do. The process of our park started in 2023 when I took the idea to our Board of Trustees. We wanted to expand beyond the walls of the library and utilize our outdoor space to benefit the community that we serve. Once I presented the idea to the board, a committee was appointed which consisted of Bill Armstrong, Jim Landrum, and myself. We approached Marguerite Armstrong and asked her to design the layout. She and I walked the property. Her design included recommendations for landscaping companies I could contact to get the bid process rolling, as well as a list of plants that would work well. The space includes a butterfly garden, gazebo, walkways, picnic tables, benches, and a pergola. The utilities will be fenced in, and eventually we will have a line of viburnum to serve as a natural fence between the property to the east and a line of other plantings to serve as a natural fencing for property to the west. We then started sending out bid packets to several landscaping companies in the county and surrounding area. I called numerous greenhouses and at the time, Glenn Lester, who was in business, to get the name of plant suppliers. We ended up getting 5 bids from various contractors and then narrowed that down to 3. At that point, the committee met almost weekly to narrow down the scope of work and finally determine exactly how we wanted the project to be laid out. We sent the phase work out to the 3 contractors and asked them to bid with a hard deadline of Friday, May 10th. We also conducted interviews with all 3 bidders before selecting the winning bid. It's important to note that the winning bid was not the lowest, but it was the most complete, and they provided references. The contract was awarded to Bennett Fleet and Facilities LLC out of Whitestone. Groundbreaking for the park was held on July 24th, 2024. You will see that in the pictures that I gave you as we go through the phases. Although this was before the grant was submitted to Virginia Outdoor Foundation, the Library Board of Trustees felt that this project was important enough that we would use some of the money in our savings to get the project started. We had no guarantee that we would receive the VOF grant, and I had also applied for 2 other grants before submitting that one and was turned down, and 2 other ones I had in the works. We also decided that we would launch a fundraising campaign in October to make sure we had funding available for the last phase. To date, in that fundraising campaign, we've raised $23,000. We proposed doing the work in phases, with each phase priced out in the bidding process so that we could keep the project manageable and know what we would need financially before starting the next phase. Phase 1 was the installation of the walkways and the pad for the gazebo. This included clearing, removal, and disposal for the paths. Screens were laid and the edges were prepared. The concrete was poured and broom finished. The pad for the gazebo was poured as well. This was the most expensive part of our project. Phase 2 was the purchase of and installation of the gazebo, pergola, and fencing around the utilities. This included having one of the guy wires moved by Dominion Power. The gazebo and pergola were purchased from Backyard Showcases in Ronks, Pennsylvania. I had seen their gazebos at a show and was impressed with the quality of their workmanship. These were designed to our specifications, manufactured in Ronks, and delivered to the library on September 27th. Over the next month, the contractor had a team come in to put them both together. We are just now finishing up the fencing, which was subcontracted out, and that will hopefully be completed by the end of next week. Phase 3 is all of the electricity. This includes lighting along the walkways and in the gazebo, and the installation of a ceiling fan in the gazebo. We are using dark sky lighting and hope to eventually switch out all of our parking lot lighting for the same. We chose to use the electrician we use for all of our electrical work in the library and bid this part of the project out separately. The contractor for this work is Sean Robinson, who owns One Mo Row Enterprises out of Richmond. Phase 4 and 5 will be completed in the spring. This includes the installation of all the plants and the irrigation system. Installation of the benches and picnic tables will take place after planting is completed. There will also be placement of trash cans, a doggy station, and some statues. We also received a donation for a story walk, which is in the planning stages. And we're talking about a water bottle filling station. I included pictures of where we are to date and a drawing of the park in the handout that I gave you. The grant, which we did receive, was for $134,000. That grant covers all of our expenses, as well as the fundraising that we're doing. We will not have to take any money out of any other funding that we receive, because we received that grant from the Virginia Outdoor Foundation. I am working on a title search, as well as getting a GPS survey for the other requirements of the grant, and I'll come back to you for a deed of easement, which I discussed with you and shared with you in July. At this point, I'm happy to answer any questions, and I appreciate the opportunity for you to allow me to give you this update.
All right, any board members have any questions?
I don't have any.
Staff have any questions?
Questions? No?
Very, very good presentation, and it looks good.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you for your support. I appreciate that.
Looks very
I
nice.
can't wait for this community opportunity for us to do more in the back of the library, because we can open that up as well.
Yeah.
So thank you.
All right, thank you very much. All right, next is Sheriff Beecham. Sheriff Beecham, where's your hat?
In the closet.
That red hat you were supposed to have?
Oh, I forgot that one.
And your elves?
They wouldn't come.
They wouldn't come?
No. All right, good evening, Mr. Chairman and board members. To start my presentation, I have about a 9-minute audio recording I'd like to have the IT department play for y'all.
All right. Yes, sir.
Northumberland 911, where's your emergency?
Somebody got hit. Somebody got shot. 20,
Ma'am, where are you at?
24.
Ma'am, what's the address?
2490 Brown Store Road. 2490 Brown Store Road.
All right,
Who got
Sam.
shot, y'all? What's going on?
Ma'am, is the male there that got shot?
Oh my God, yes, somebody got shot, but I don't know what's going on. The kids won't tell me.
All right, stay on the line with me, okay?
Who is it? Who got shot, y'all? Who got
Ma'am?
shot?
Ma'am, is the
I
shooter
don't
still
know.
around?
I don't know. The kids outside. The young
Ma'am?
boys outside.
All right, take a deep breath. Try to talk to me, okay? Is the shooter still there?
Oh my God. I don't know if the shooter here or not. People running everywhere.
Okay, is this a party?
No, it's my house. And the boys was outside in the shed. The boys was outside in the camper. Who is that?
Ma'am?
Who got shot? Oh my God. The people. Oh my God.
Ma'am, stay on the line.
Who got shot? Oh my God. Wait, good. They not telling me what's going on.
I need to stage for 249.
By who?
One male subject has been shot.
Let me out! Let me out! Oh my God! Get right now! Oh my God! It's a lot of dudes! It's a lot of dudes! Oh my
All
God!
right, ma'am.
What is going on? Oh my God! Oh my God!
Ma'am, is there still shooting?
Yo, get down, Cardi! Get down! Get down on the floor! Get down! Not down!
Northumberland 350.
Not down! Stay quiet! He goes down!
Ma'am?
Help him! Help him! Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, please! Please, send somebody, please!
Ma'am, I have deputies and EMS en route. Is the shooter still there?
No, I don't know! I don't know! I'm in my house!
I copy. It's 2490 Brown Store Road.
Y'all, get out my name! Y'all, get out
Ma'am,
my
stay on the
name!
line with me, okay? Stay on the line.
Okay!
Stay on the line. Do not hang up.
Call me mama! Please call Tasha!
315 Northumberland Road.
I copy. It's 2490 Brown Store Road. I'm going to call command staff.
301.
301, go ahead.
Any update? How many shooters? Are they still there?
Okay, ma'am, I understand. 301, stand by.
No problem. I'll take the roll up order. I need some information.
301, she's not sure how many shooters. She believes it's just one and one male has been shot.
Okay. 301, what's my next closest unit?
Come on, next run.
303, on the air en route.
Okay. All responding units, I have Lancaster en route. They have a 6-minute ETA.
Northumberland shooter still on scene.
303, the complainant does not know. She hasn't seen the shooter. He just stopped shooting a couple minutes ago.
Okay, where was he located on the property?
303, the shooting happened inside the house.
Okay.
Last unit, repeat your traffic. Northumberland, all responding units. This male subject was shot inside of a camper beside the residence. He is now inside of the house, unknown of where the shooter is at this time.
303 direct, Clay Point Bridge.
Okay.
301, I'm on scene. No activity in the yard.
I copy. 2016.
304, right.
2016.
322 on scene.
2018.
301.
Go ahead. 301, go ahead.
301.
Go ahead, 301.
All right, looks like we've got one gunshot wound to the leg. Go ahead and give me a helicopter in here.
Okay.
301, turn out Wakama code. Do you have a description on the suspect, vehicle, anything?
Northumberland all units. Complainant stated she does not know, she cannot give a description of what the male looked like and did not know if he was in a vehicle or on foot.
303 going on scene.
303, you were broken. Can you repeat?
Come on scene.
2020.
316 Northumberland on duty en route. 304, what was fire's request on deputy?
304, I didn't copy. Can you repeat?
What was the fire department's request for a deputy?
He wants one at the landing zone, which is going to be at the burn building.
10-4.
301.
301.
Let us know when the medics can continue in.
They can come on in. 304, Northumberland.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Good, 315, go to the LZ.
Northumberland 316.
315, 316.
316, you copy. If you report traffic, head on to the burn building for the LZ.
Copy, up in a row. Good night.
304, you advised for 316 to go, not 315, correct?
315.
I copy.
301.
301, go ahead.
Mark time of tourniquet applied at 8:24 p.m.
Tourniquet applied, 824.
315, that's the burn building.
2024.
302 on scene.
Okay, 2025. 315. 315.
315.
Northumberland Rescue is going to have 3 POVs coming into the burn building.
Copy.
301. 301.
301.
Someone give me a patient weight when available.
No more than 150.
150 pounds at 2027.
305, 304. 304. What'd you need? At this point, you respond to the scene. What's on you?
305 responding 2028.
304, 305. I need a unit at Old Typers, Brownsville Road, diverting traffic. I need a unit down by the apartments, diverting traffic. This is going to be extended crime scene. 10-4. I'm going into Light Street on Blackwood side. Where you want this Light Street end to stop at? No, you can go to Typers and Brown Store and divert. The other unit needs to be at the apartments. Unless they live down here, they don't need to come down here. Send them on out. 305, guys. 316, 303. I copy.
No problem, sir. From traffic.
302, 303. There was a VMRC unit sitting at Old Typers and Brown Store. If we want to utilize them, maybe. They can hang out with our unit. We just don't have comms with them, so it's not going to work. 316 and 303. I'm coming up on Brown Store. I can head to the apartment. Yeah, that'd be fine. Just set that up. If you need another unit, let me know. I copy.
Okay, so what you heard was radio traffic. That was Northumberland radio traffic. That was deputies, most deputies. I don't even think we heard EMS and the dispatcher. So that was a shooting on Brown Store Road this past November 19th, 2024, about 8 p.m. at night. And that's the first call I can remember being dispatched to where they said this is probably an active shooter. So active shooters just don't happen at school. And we're trained to go in by ourselves on active shooters. So if you heard 301 on the radio, that's me. I was the first one in there. The third one in, if you heard 303 on the radio, that's Major Allen. I bring all this up because this is the incidents that we are responding to, and we're responding to more gun violence than ever across this nation, and it's touching here as well. The problem I have is I was the first one in there, and I have no body camera. Major Allen has no body camera. Our current body cameras are failing. After the request I put in for CIP for this fiscal year that was not funded, I now have a patrol sergeant without a body camera because he had to give his camera to a patrol deputy. So we are in dire need of body cameras. Body cameras have become a piece of equipment just as necessary as my service weapon, or my handcuffs, my car, my ballistic vest. These are no longer wants, they're no longer, that would be cool to have. This is a necessity that we need. So, if you look at their request, and you should have it, I just want to do a quick rundown of it. I'm asking for 19 body cameras, and what that will do is replace the ones we have, plus add 4 more for the detectives. That's still not going to give me one, that's still not going to give him one, and it's still not going to give the chief deputy one. I came in, asked for 22 body cameras for this fiscal year and didn't get it. And I understand why. So I'm asking for 19. That's a lesser cost. In the quote, it also, with the body cameras, you get cloud storage. That's a must with these cameras. So there's no longer a storage unit on premises. This is going to be to their virtual, their cloud storage. This is Motorola. And you have to pay per device for that. It also includes, at year 3, a complete refresh of the 19 body cameras. And I mean refresh is we give those 3 back. They'll be 3 years old. They give us 19 more cameras brand new, all included in this price. The quote you have, I think, ends next week. I talked to Motorola today. They extended the incentive, which is a discount of $9,000, into the first quarter of 2025. Why do I ask for 2025? So I have found a grant that is a dollar-for-dollar match, so a 50-50 grant, up to $2,000 per device. But that only applies to cameras bought after January 1st, 2025. So I would not be eligible. If you were to approve it tonight and I ordered them tomorrow, we would not be eligible for the grant. I have identified funding, and I have worked with the county administrator's office. After final figures and after reimbursement from DCJS, my fiscal year 24 funds, I had $118,878 of unspent fiscal year 24 funds. So I'm asking the board to reconsider the new proposal and understand the dire need that we have for this equipment. It's imperative that everybody is equipped with a body camera. What you will see to get the other 3 that I mentioned that the 3 of us will not have, in my CIP request, in the new vehicles, we have to also begin to replace our in-car cameras. They are aging out as well. You can buy those as a bundle with a body camera. So I've asked for 3 marked cars, 3 new in-car cameras, and they'll come with 3 body cameras that will complete everybody in a uniform full-time to have a body camera. And last but not least, and at least for the attorney and Mr. Tadlock, this quote is based on a VETA contract. So procurement shouldn't be an issue as far as that goes. That's my presentation.
Are you going to apply for the grant? Sure.
Yes, so once January 1st gets here, whenever I get back in the office, I'm going to call the grant manager for our area for that.
So the $80,000 request could be like a $40,000 request?
Well, yes and no. So this is a reimbursement, and we don't have to wait for the grant because the grant doesn't pay out until July. So you can, if you wish, to allocate all the funds up front, and then if we get the grant, half of that will come back. But I want the board to understand that if you vote for this, I mean, you need to understand that you're going to have to put all the money up front, and we may not get the grant. But the opportunity is there, and I plan to apply for it to try to help you out.
My question is, Sheriff, why wouldn't you ask for the cameras that you need? You're not gonna have one, right? And you say who else?
Major Allen and my chief deputy.
I mean, why wouldn't you get one for everybody? I mean, you're gonna be out there too, right?
Yes, sir. I did ask for everybody. My CIP for this current fiscal year, I asked for 22 body cameras, and the board did not approve it.
But the way things going on now around the nation, like you said, there's a lot of shootings right here in Northumberland County. We need to be prepared in every aspect that we can. So
I agree, and I will add real quick. It's not all about our response. It's also about transparency. So body cameras are available through FOIA if they meet certain requirements. Like if there's a traffic stop, or even this, if any of us had to go in on that call and we had to discharge our weapon. I mean, all of that at some point could be FOIAble. That would be down the road, but it also gives a sense of transparency to the community of how we are acting, how we do on scene and things like that. So it's not just for the court, it's not just for the Commonwealth Attorney, it's not to see if we're following policy, it's also for the community to show that we are transparent.
Sheriff, you said that for all full-time employees, were you counting your part-time employees on those numbers?
Well, my part-time employees are bailiffs and they can't have them in the courtroom.
You don't have any part-time deputies?
No.
So you asked for 22 cameras originally, and now you're asking for 19. Why is that? Yeah. I don't understand.
Well, you didn't fund the 22 cameras at $124,000. So my thought is I need to come back with a lesser amount.
How much is in the CIP?
Right now, this is including the cigarette tax monies. You're looking about $749,000.
Where is that $118,000 of unspent funds from the Sheriff's Department? Is that in our general fund now?
That, at the end of the fiscal year, that would go back to the general fund. So that it's not carried over or anything like that.
And they've extended the pricing, rebates.
Yes, sir. They've extended the, I think it's 9,000 discount. Let me look real quick. It's an incentive, they call it, of course, but at the end, it's incentive. They changed it to loyal customer discount through March 12th, 2025.
If I'm not mistaken, if I recall correctly, I think you and I were the first two to get cameras in Northumberland County Sheriff's Office. And I've been a great believer in them ever since.
Yeah, so that was dash cameras way back in the day, 20-some years ago.
I think we were the first two in the department to get them.
And it was amazing to watch the change, not just in car cameras, but when we went to body cameras in 2017, you know, it's a culture shock to law enforcement because now everybody's being recorded. You know, we're being recorded on what we say and do. But it's changed so much now that they don't want to be without it. You know, because they have seen complaints come in. They have seen things that the officer did this or the officer said that, and we played the body camera back, and it didn't happen. But, you know, they look at it as, and if I'm going to act professionally, it's going to be recorded, and I don't have anything to worry about if I get a complaint. Exactly.
How old are the cameras you're using now?
The first batch, I think we got 8. So that was 2017, and we've got 8 more in 2018. And we may have replaced 3 or 4 throughout the year. So so the majority are 6 years old, and there are probably some that are 5, maybe 4.5 years old.
Does that mean that we can expect to buy cameras 7, 8 years from now also?
Well, let's see. So in 3 years, they get a refresh.
Yeah.
So that would start the clock again if those 19 get replaced. And then if we get to 3 in the vehicles, they actually go on this 5-year. So let's just say we get 22 new body cameras in 3 years. That restarts the clock, and they're probably going to be supported for another 4 to 5 years at least. So you are looking at about 7 to 8 years where they probably have good life. That's the issue with any technology is it's only good for so long. They come out with new versions. They stop supporting older versions, which is what's happened here. We can't even get parts for these anymore. Law enforcement is a very expensive business now. It's not really a business. But.
So that's 81,000. You're still short 3 cameras, but you're going to try to get them with the vehicle cameras.
Yes, sir. So the bundle, the camera bundle for in-car and body cameras, somewhere around 14,000 apiece. I am trying to work in this grant when I apply for it, if you approve this. I could probably get some of that grant money to go towards those cameras as well. It's a unique program. I just found out about it this week. It's SRT. It's Small, Rural, and Tribal Body Camera Programs. And they only do grants for those type of law enforcement, up to 50 sworn or rural. They have an equation for rural if you have more than 50 law enforcement. That's what they're geared towards. So anything you buy with a body camera, they try to help you out. So if we're getting a bundle, in-car camera and a body camera, they may give some money towards both of those as well. But it's a very competitive grant, so I'm not going to stand here and say we're going to get it. I would plan on not getting it, and then hopefully we do.
That's the way you look at any grant.
Well, Mr. Tadlock, right now, the money that was left over from last year's budget, that goes right back into the county coffers. That was unspent funds. All right. We do have money in the CIP. Or we could take it out of the county funding. Gentlemen, I hate to spend the money, but I would like to see our deputies and sheriff out here have protection.
We've got to. We've got to.
I'd like to see the.
So I would like for us to go ahead and approve this, approve the money, and let's decide where we want to take it from.
I'd like to see the 22 cameras.
The county,
Sheriff needs a camera also.
CIP, all right.
Yeah.
Motion to, what is it? Repeat your amount, make sure I got it right, Mr.
Well,
Bishop.
that's for 19 cameras.
We're talking about
Do you have the amount for the 22 cameras?
22.
I do not.
Well, you got your body cameras, 81,306.90, is that correct, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right.
If I may, real quick, I appreciate you guys wanting to do this, and it sounds like you're going to approve it, but if whoever makes the motion, if you could put language in there to be purchased after January 1st, 2025, that way I can show the grant that you said we can't buy it until after that.
All right.
Sheriff Beecham.
Yes.
It looks like for the CIP request, it was $117,720. Was that an old quote? Or is that,
Yeah,
would that still stand or?
Well, I mean, I can go back and do, they've got it pretty, laid out pretty good here. 22 versus, 19 versus 1 versus, I mean, I can do some quick math, and we can come up with an estimated amount. That's the best I can do. I don't know. That quote is probably old enough that some of the stuff has increased. Or the other option is, if, sounds like you're going to approve it, there's not a rush between January 1st and your meeting in January. I could get a quote, if that's what you want, for 22 and come back to the board.
Yeah, right.
If that's
That's
what you want to do.
That's what I want to vote for,
All right,
22.
that's the pleasure of the board. We'll just wait till
Yeah,
January's meeting.
Postpone until next month.
right.
Thank you for the long presentation. I appreciate your time and
Thank you.
approving. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Next is a presentation from the EMS Chief Alderson.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chief.
Couldn't see it late.
Everybody was on.
All right. Thank you. Okay, Chief Alderson.
Mr. Chairman, members, thank you for the opportunity to present to you tonight. In our CIP, we had identified the replacement of our LifePak 15 monitors over the course of several years. With me tonight, I have Mrs. Christian Tiller, who is the Stryker representative who sells the LifePak monitors to us. I would say that Stryker is sole source for LifePak, so they are the only entity that we can purchase the LifePak from in the Commonwealth of Virginia. As the sheriff had noted in his presentation, technology is ever evolving. We currently utilize a LifePak 15 cardiac monitor, and one of those is 7 years old and the other is 6 years old. LifePak recommends or has an 8-year lifespan on the cardiac monitors, and as you can see, we are reaching that lifespan in a very short order. In the CIP, I had identified replacing these two, one in 27 and the next one in 29. When Mrs. Tillers came on here several months ago, we had several conversations about the LifePaks and where we were going with EMS technology and so forth. And she brought up some awareness for me as far as the LifePak 35 as newer technology with the phasing out of the LifePak 15. So with that, we kind of shifted gears and are looking at the LifePak 35 because of the technology upgrades that it is capable of, and also when it comes to a training issue, there's a vast difference in utilizing a LifePak 35 versus a LifePak 15. So I do not want to cross the two over onto the ambulances because my personnel move from ambulance to ambulance, so there could be an issue caused by utilizing different devices. With the LifePak 35, we have newer technology. The LifePak 15 is using about a 15-year-old technology that Mrs. Tillers has told me. We have the current or the latest version of the LifePak 15, but again, they're phasing that unit out. So we will not be able to purchase those units to coincide with our CIP. So my request for you tonight is to purchase 3 of the LifePak 35s. That will give us 1 for each frontline ambulance and 1 for the assistant chief's vehicle that can be utilized in several other ways. One of those being we are seeing an uptick in upstaffing an additional unit for special events such as football games, rallies, and so forth, so we are able to utilize a cardiac monitor for that. Currently, in order to do that, we are borrowing a unit from Northumberland Rescue Squad to do that. This would alleviate us having to utilize one of their units. Again, it will give us newer technology in doing that enhanced job for us. One of the key features over the 35 has over the LifePak 15 is it specifically has pediatric protocols in there following the ACLS and PALS guidelines, whereas the LifePak 15 does not. The LifePak 15 has buttons and wheels that we have to utilize and turn to get the different aspects of what we're trying to utilize this device for. The LifePak 35 does not, and it's very much more user-friendly. I will use the analogy of sending a text message on a flip phone as for a LifePak 15 versus sending a text message on a smartphone for the LifePak 35. As you can see there, you have a couple of options in front of you. One of those is to purchase all 3 of those outright with a ProCare 5-year plan that takes care of the batteries, anything that needs to be worked on with that, the mileage for the technician to come out and work on that as well, and also the mounts for the vehicles. You see 5 mounts on there. We have 4 ambulances and the assistant chief's vehicle. So even though we're running 2 front lines, if one of those breaks down and we have to move the equipment to one of the reserves, the mount would already be on that unit so that we could just move the monitor over through that unit. The other option is a financing option that Mrs. Tillers has put together for us that would allow us to get the equipment and then pay for it over the course of 5 years, I believe is what you have.
Over 5 years, and you can defer the first payment till July of next year.
Yes.
What was that? I didn't, I just couldn't
So you
hear.
can, I'll let Mrs. Tillers come up and explain the financing portion of that for you.
Hi, good evening, board. My name's Christian. I work for Stryker. So everything's expensive right now. So you have an option to buy 3 outright, or you could do them with essentially a payment plan where you make 5 payments at roughly $40,000 over 5 years, and we could defer that payment until July 1st of 25, so you could use next year's budget for the funds. Just different options.
Options, okay.
What was the 5-year, was it a maintenance agreement?
It's a service agreement, so we'll come out and do all the preventative maintenance required, as well as like any batteries that need replacement and any failures in the product, we'll fix it. That's all rolled into that cost.
Technology upgrades?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so if you got bad leads, y'all gonna replace those, or do we have to purchase those?
Yep.
So
Yeah.
That comes with a maintenance agreement?
It comes, the device itself, like if you have some of the cords and stuff that will fail, we're pretty good about like slipping that in when we can, but it'll be kind of like a one-off situation.
And the warranty on these to start off with?
It's a year warranty on the device.
That's on parts and maintenance, labor, anything?
Parts, labor, travel, and then batteries. Batteries are shockingly expensive for these devices, and they all require 2. So I was just actually at an agency that didn't do we call it a ProCare. It's what we call our service agreements, and they're much smaller than y'all, and they spent $25,000 just on batteries. I was there today, so batteries add up really quickly in cost.
So with each unit, you get 2 batteries?
Mm-hmm. That's what's quoted.
And they charge in the unit?
Uh-huh.
Does it come with an external charger?
Yes, that's all quoted.
So all of that
Good questions. I think one of the reasons, so I've actually presented at Richmond and Westmoreland and King William all this month, and they're all doing some variation of upgrading their life packs right now. Some people have bought outright, some people have done the payment plan, but there is this move to standardize equipment. So when new recruits, new hires, it seems like everyone is needing new personnel as the counties are growing. The standardization just makes it a lot easier for people to learn one piece of equipment. So when they're in a really stressful situation, they don't have to know two devices and maybe make an error.
Chief Balderson, what are all the other squads using now in the county?
In the county currently, LifePak 15s.
So it's still same manufacturer?
Yes, everybody's using the LifePak brand.
Did you say that the 15 is being phased out, or?
Yes, sir.
January 1st.
January 1st. So there's not going to be much support left for that.
We were required to support with parts for 7 years by the FDI, but starting at year 13, so yes, for the next 7 years, we're required to support it with parts.
When were the LifePak 15s put in service in Northumberland County?
So one of the current ones, excuse me, is 7 years old, and the other is 6.
And I imagine that life package seen right much service to it.
Yes, sir.
Tadlock, what do we have in the EMS revenue recovery fund?
You have, it's close to $1 million. It's 980, about 980,000.
And those funds are what we collect off of the EMS billing, correct?
That's correct.
And that's why we have those funds as to purchase this equipment.
That was the reason it was set up, to help offset the capital improvements related to the EMS budget.
Yep, that's why we have the funding there.
Was any of this under the grant, RSFA grant, or was that just a unit?
Can you repeat, sir?
Your RSFA grant?
Mm-hmm.
Did you apply?
Yes, we did apply for the fall grant
Okay.
with a LifePak, but from the information that I've gotten thus far, we haven't gotten the official wording from OEMS, but from what I understand, it's not very favorable to get approved.
Okay.
Another reason that we were thinking about doing all of them at once is that Stryker takes pretty significant price increases. So I've been with Stryker for about a decade. Most of my time has been in the hospitals. I'm relatively new to fire and EMS, but on the fire and EMS side, they take about an 8 to 10% price increase every year. So what I quoted for this year is in front of you. If I provided you the same quote in January, it'd be roughly $43,000 more.
Is Blair still with Stryker?
No, I'm the new Blair.
You're the new Blair?
I'm the new Blair.
Okay.
Hate to see Chief Beecham do a vote.
Chief Balderson?
Yeah, Chief Balderson.
I mean, I will tell you right now,
Yeah.
I'll make a motion that we purchase them using the EMS revenue recovery funds.
Yeah, we got the money in the EMS.
I'll second that.
All right, we got a motion and a second.
What you got, Luttrell?
No, I guess I just had a question related to the total purchase price versus the annual payments. It looks like, and I wanted to make sure I was doing this correctly, if you do it outright, it's $167,676.21. But if you do the financing, it looks like a little less than $30,000 more. Is that?
There's
There is. Okay, I just wanted to make sure the board understood.
Much interest.
Yeah. I mean, the thing of it is, that's why we have those funds, is to purchase this equipment, keep it updated.
All right. Any other discussion, gentlemen? Second. We got a motion, a second. So if not any other discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against? Chief Alderson, your motion passes, sir.
Thank you very much. I do appreciate that.
Nice meeting you too, ma'am.
Just for clarification, was that to purchase those outright?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
No interest.
Okay, thank you.
We didn't specify a dollar amount. You want to specify a dollar amount in your motion, Mr. Brand?
It is. The $167,676.21.
And that includes the service contract?
Yes.
All right, I've got that as an amendment. Did somebody second that?
Mr. Long seconded it.
All right, we got an amendment to the motion. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against? Is that all you need, Mr. Tadlock?
Yes, sir. Thank you. For right now. You might need some other things later on.
All right. All right. Next is EMF Chief Alderson again. You didn't even have to sit down, sir.
This also pertains to the CIP that we presented last year. Again, with January coming around, we also are anticipating price increases with ambulance sales as well. With that in mind, we have so far spec'd out a new ambulance for our agency. We have gotten 3 different quotes for that ambulance. I believe you have those in your board packet. Some of the things that we were looking at for a new ambulance is, number one, a unit that is functional for us with safety for our personnel and safety for the patients. And I believe we have designed the ambulance around those priorities. One of the other things that we looked at was the manufacturer or the sales person or the company that they work for have a service center within the Commonwealth of Virginia. Currently, with our 2 newest units that we have, the service center is in North Carolina. It's about a 6.5-hour drive there. And on several occasions with the newer units, EMS Assistant Chief Harding has been on the telephone with them trying to diagnose issues with that ambulance. And he has been out there one day several hours on the telephone with them just to try to diagnose that. Other things we've had to get O'Grady's take care of for us under warranty and that transaction between AEV, our current vendor, and O'Grady's to get that warranty taken care of. So the consistency there is all over. So when we looked at that, we looked at someone that had a service center within the Commonwealth of Virginia that we could deal with, get the unit to in a reasonable amount of time, and have them do whatever warranty work or whatever necessary repairs in a timely fashion and get it back in service. So in looking at that, we looked at Atlantic Emergency Solutions and PL Custom and got 3 quotes. As I stated before, you have those before you, and we have chosen to present and ask for the road rescue quote. That is for $410,000. If you remember in the CIP, I had about $400,000 for an ambulance in there, and the next one due a few years out. The reason we're bringing this to you tonight is twofold. Number one, we are expecting the manufacturer to have an increase in pricing after January. And 2, as you can see on the proposal, it's a 28 to 30 month build time. So even if we order it in January of '25, it's going to be '27 before we see it. So this falls in line with our CIP of replacing our ambulances on a 10-year rotation, because the ambulance that this new one, if approved tonight, will replace, will be reaching that 10-year mark when this one comes in. The one that it's going to replace, if approved, currently has 150,000 and could have as much as 200,000 by the time it gets here. I'll be happy to entertain any questions you may have.
Where is that service center in Virginia?
If we go with the road rescue, they have one in Chester and they have one in York County. So they have two very close by to us.
And road rescue was a
That was the cheapest.
cheaper one.
Yes, sir.
Basically, same equipment, same vehicle.
Yes, sir. And that 410, the quote was 428, I believe, or 438, and if we pay for it up front, they give us a significant discount to get it down to 410,000.
Is that gas, diesel?
That's a diesel engine.
All right.
We've had quite a bit of problem with the gas engines in the two new vehicles.
What's the mileage on those?
On the newer vehicles,
I forget the gas engines.
let me get that for you. The new Medic one, it has 52,000 as of October of this year, and Medic 2 has 60,000.
You've had very much trouble with those gas engines.
Yes, sir. Just for an example, in FY25, the current newest Medic 1 has been in the shop 4 times. 3 of those were for replacement of coil packs, and 1 was for an AC clutch. In FY24, it was in the shop 3 times to replace 2 coil packs, and the liquid spring suspension system had to be repaired at almost a cost of $4,000. Medic 2 for FY25 so far has been in the shop twice for an inverter, which Assistant Chief Harding fixed in-house, and then we had some issues with fuel caps that O'Grady's took care of for us. And in FY24, it was in the shop 2 times to replace 3 coil packs, 2 of them at once.
Any of this warranty, or is all of that?
Initially, it was warranty. The last few have not been under warranty. Warranty is going out on the ambulances, and Assistant Chief Harding has talked with O'Grady's, and they are now keeping the coil packs in stock because it seems to be a significant problem to having to replace those on a continuous basis.
Gentlemen, we got 2 years to wait.
You got, I mean, get the mileage with the gas engines, you do the diesels.
Yeah. The order today is 2 years to get it. Or close to it.
Yes, sir.
That's just the way it was. That was the way it was last time we ordered one.
12 months, now they increased it.
Yes, sir.
And we do have the money in the account for it, and that's what the money is there for. We've got to provide service to the citizens here. Yes, sir?
Mr. Tadlock, how much money is deposited annually in that EMS fund from EMS billing?
Annually from EMS billing, how much we accrue is, it's about $250,000, give or take.
A lot of money.
I move that we approve.
A lot of money, but
No, a lot of money, but that's what we need. We need it.
Mr. Tadlock, you said 250?
Approximately, yes, sir.
That's how much is billed, or that's how much is paid?
That's how much we receive
That's how
in
much we
in
receive.
payments from EMS building.
What is that in relation to how much is billed?
Billing right now is going at about 50%. We were down a little bit for the past 7 months because we were having an issue with Rappahannock General and getting what's called the face sheet information. But we had just gotten that resolved about a month ago between RGH and the billing company. So we should start to see that tick back up and increase. Also with that, don't forget that you all increased the billing rates as well. So that's going to play into that too. When we start seeing the revenue generated by this face sheet issue, we should start seeing an uptick in generated revenue. The other thing I will make a little note about also is when we designed the CIP fund, we did not use the entire $250,000 recurring when we were looking at expenses plus what was deposited into the account. We used the figure of $180,000 in the CIP to show that we could sustain the CIP with expending these funds with that recurring $180,000 being deposited into that annually.
Gentlemen, any other questions? Chief Alderson? Chief Alderson, you say Atlantic is the company that you'd like to deal with?
Yes, sir. They gave us the lowest proposal, and we feel that they'll give us a quality unit to work with as well.
I'll make a motion that we authorize Mr. Balderson to proceed with the purchase of an ambulance for $438,515. And hopefully we can get some discount on that.
What the money's at?
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Mr. Chairman, if you could, if we include that those monies be transferred from the EMS billing funds.
All right.
And supplemental appropriation be done to 9103-7029.
9103-2.
7029.
All right, I'll amend my motion that we take those monies out of the supplemental EMS fund, transfer those monies to 9103-27029. Am I correct? Am I correct on the numbers?
That was 0329, right?
9103-27. 7029.
Second.
All right, motion's been amended. Any other discussion?
No, I'm sorry, no question. You need the full 438 or the 410?
The 438 is fine. We will work at the 410, but since the motion's been made for 438, we're going to go with the 410.
Yeah, it would be nice if you can get it for the
Yes.
410.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping.
Yes, sir.
And we wouldn't have to spend that extra money.
Absolutely.
All right. Any other discussion, gentlemen? All right. If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those against? All right.
Thank you
Sheriff
very
Balls?
much for your support. It's
Oh,
appreciated.
we're not finished with him yet. Mr. Balderson is first-time granddad.
All right, congratulations.
Oh,
Thank you.
congratulations.
And today's his anniversary, so.
Oh, it's the anniversary too?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
And
Thank
we're
you.
keeping you on your anniversary. Apologies to your wife.
Thank you, sir.
She's probably thanking us.
Sheriff Balderson, come here a second. Chief Balderson,
Yes, sir.
give me 1 second.
Thank you very much for your
All right.
support. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hope it makes you feel better.
You won't stay home.
Huh?
I said, she gotta stay home.
All right. The next is an update from Northumberland County Schools. Dr. Wargo, Ms. Booth?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and Supervisors. We'll start with some back-to-school weekly highlights. We are congratulating our fourth grade student, Paisley Kirby. You can see in the photo that she competed in Aerial Olympics, and she has been invited to now participate in national competition. On page 1 and 2, you can check out a snowplow. It's a Northumberland snowplow that you may have seen in the Callio Christmas Parade. Our students and our art teacher worked on that design, which is wonderful. It's a winter wonderland with a snowman family. So hopefully it will snow this year and you will see this beautiful snowplow plowing the roads while we are closed. At the bottom of page 2, you'll see that last Friday we had the Chesapeake Chorale participate in the auditorium. Our very own school board member, Dr. Cheryl Davis, is the artistic director for the Chesapeake Chorale. It was a beautiful event. On Saturday, I saw many of you at the Heathsville Christmas tree lighting ceremony. Both Mr. Haney and Mrs. Jane Blue did an excellent job leading that special event. And thank you to our choirs from the elementary and middle high for participating. Please know that Northern Neck Electric has a youth tour opportunity available to our students. You can find that information in the newsletter. We do have a calendar change for this coming week. December 19th is now a student and staff holiday. Currently, we're accepting applications for the Chesapeake Bay Governor's School. Applications are due January 17th, 2025, and this is an opportunity open to freshmen. This is for their sophomore year to participate in Chesapeake Bay Governor's School. This evening, after my presentation, you'll see me heading to the middle school and high school chorus and band concert. That is this evening beginning at 6:30 p.m. And I think that pretty much wraps up our recap of the week. With that said, the board did approve a response to a proposal for the playground. And I am going to try to find that. While I do that, I'm going to have Tara Booth present, and then we'll circle back to me.
Good evening, gentlemen. Hope you all enjoyed your Thanksgiving holiday.
Yes, ma'am. Hope you did too.
I did, thank you. I gave you all a copy of our November expenditure report. This evening, we would like to request that the remaining half of our budget, $10,764,532, be appropriated. I believe Mr. Tadlock may have shared that with you all. Thank you.
How much was that again?
$10,764,532.
All right. Board members have any questions for Ms. Booth?
No.
All right, what's the pleasure of the board?
Well, I'll make a motion that we approve. That's the amount to do.
Approve it.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All right, got a motion and a second. Do I have any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those against? There you go, ladies.
Thank you, gentlemen. And just an update, we've been working on our fiscal 26 budget. That will be presented to the school board at their January 13th meeting. And as soon as I'm able to make any corrections that need to be made from their approval that night, I will get that right over to Mary and Mr. Tadlock.
Okay. All right.
I have some questions for you, Lee. Had a couple of calls about, are you short on bus drivers?
We are making it work, but we can always use bus drivers as well as car drivers.
Well, I had some complaints from people from my district that some of the kids were missing school because of transportation. Is that true?
I'm not aware of that, and I do think I would be aware of that. I did have a conversation with Mrs. Clayton regarding one cancellation with a private day placement for one day. We have addressed that, so it was a one-day event, and the driver became ill and could not drive to Richmond.
Had they call?
Okay, very good. I want to circle back to the playground. The school board on December 9th approved Carolina Design in the amount of $557,754.96 pending funding provided by the CIP. I believe that was the direction that the supervisors requested at your last meeting.
What was that amount again, Dr. Wargo?
Hang on for 1 second. I have to put my glasses on. It is $557,754.96. 557,754.96. This expires 12/31/2024. The phrasing was pending funding provided by the CIP. And Mrs. Williams is here this evening. I'm not sure if she would like to join me here. You're welcome to, Mrs. Williams.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
How are you all?
Good evening.
Fine.
How you doing?
You?
Okay. If you have any questions?
Questions from the board?
What's the square footage?
9,000 square feet.
9,000
Is
square
that
feet.
existing?
Yes. Yes, sir. It is.
Because
It doesn't count the part that's over to the right. It's what's covered in mulch.
one of the first proposals for the 370-some thousand was for 5,400 square feet.
For the Carolina or for?
I don't know, it's just, no, it was another company. But they also turned around and provided you a proposal for the 9,400 square feet. That was the difference in the.
And the reason in the square footage is the number of children
How
on the
many?
playground. You
Okay.
have to have, they have to take into consideration the fall. So you have to have so many square feet per children on the playground. I believe their proposal is 200. And then you have to have so many feet, if you go up, you have to have so much of the square footage in the thickness of the surface that they're putting in. It's a two-layer surface on top of two different types of stone that are impacted over top of the new drain. And they would have to have so much falls, so the likelihood they would not get hurt. So we did increase the square footage because he said that a 5,000 would not be able to accommodate our influx of children on the playground. And it's going to average about 200. If we have 550 children, and if you take out their lunchtime, their academic, they're all going to be out there about, you have to rotate them through, so each one gets what the state says for their physical activity.
So
once you
in a
compute all
previous,
that-
I think in a previous meeting, I think you said it was being like 50 out there at one time.
No.
More than 50?
No, that's what we would have on the blacktop.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
that's the other end that's on the blacktop, and we try to keep that to a minimum because I think last year I gave you all the information from the nurse's office that those little bugaboos, they fall down on that blacktop right and left. We have people that just stand out there with Band-Aids and wipes, and they just, they're excited. They get excited, and they run and they play, and the asphalt can only handle about that many.
We've had students dislocate their, different body
Couple
parts
broken arms.
on the blacktop, so we do try to stay away from that as much as
And we
possible.
try not to put too many out there at one time for that reason as well, because it's not big enough for that.
So it's just the one playground company that you've got this quote for $557,000 that's suggesting or requiring us to increase the playground square footage to 9,000 square feet?
No, sir, both of them were 9,000. When Carolina came in, they had not seen the playground. He just worked up a bid for me because when you all asked me to get one, there were 5 different companies. I had the two gentlemen come down to the school board meeting prior to the week before the vote, and they presented the playground plans that I had given you all, the most current ones. We started in March, and so they've, everything, the numbers have changed.
So they're in
they came
agreement
in.
that
Yes,
that the square footage needs to increase?
yes, for the amount of students in the building and for the size of the school.
How many
Now,
students?
550. We keep an average of about 550. I mean, there's an influx in and out, but
Had you or staff recognized the fact that the playground was too small before now?
it was 9,000. The
It-
blacktop is. The Carolina design bid that we had, he had not looked at it. He was just working up
Okay.
a playground, just a standard playground.
Okay.
And then when I started talking to him, because at first I wasn't even sure from North Carolina if they were really going to be interested in doing it. I'd had so much trouble with a company in Maryland. I couldn't get to come down here. We set up appointments. They didn't show up. I had another one in Richmond, and they said that they were just too busy. They could not do anything like that right now. I had given you all, I think, the names of those at a previous meeting. So he gave me that one. But when we were talking about, okay, I need like a true blue bid for this. This is my students, this is what I have. He pulled up the aerial shot. I said, we do not want to go over where the grass is on either side. I want to look at from the concrete piece that borders the asphalt and the mulch back to that back fence and over. And he told me it looked like it was about 9,000. I told him that the other bids that we had were looking at about 9,000 as well. So that's what he worked up. And those were the two that presented to the school board. One of them was in person and one was virtual. And that's when I recommended last Monday night that we go with Carolina, because he's willing to work with our people, and this was really what kind of pushed it. He's willing to work with our people if we can do anything about getting what's there out on our own dime. Our maintenance department, if they can get that out, that's something that we'd like to look at. I've talked to Dr. Wargo and the board about that. As much as of the base that we could do, Carolina is willing to work with that. So my hope is that it would not be as much, because if we can we've removed the whole center as it is. We just need to go down to get the footings out. The gentleman cut those off. So both guys on the playground bid said that they needed to get the footings out because you can't put footings on top of footings for the new equipment and the new surface. But I think that Mr. Brand can go down and get those out and get the other pieces off. There is one piece that is a jack set that PFO bought. It's like 3 jacks. The kids climb on it, like the jacks you throw down. It's 3 of those. And I would like for us to be able to work something out to where that can be moved to the other end in the grass where the monkey bars are as the kids come out. There's a little strip there. It's a fairly new one that the PFO bought. I don't see any reason in getting rid of that if it's something that we can still use. The reason that we can't use it in the new playground is everything that goes, all of that has to come up, it has to be poured, and then whatever you're going to put in there has to be anchored and put in before they do the finished pour. The first pour on the rock is like all black, and then the second one is the permanent rubberized pour for that. The ground is the most expensive part. Between that and the equipment, that's the majority of it.
So back to the square footage. So I think what you're telling me is that the school board, neither the school board nor the board of supervisors should have considered the original bid at 5,000 square feet. Would you agree with that?
Well, yes, because I didn't have but playground, the playground specialist. He was the only one who gave me a bid. I couldn't get anybody else. Then you all told me to go back, and I got Carolina, and then I brought both of those bids when he gave me one for both of you. I mean, for both bids to come in and be submitted. And that was the one that I had, one was staple, one was bound, that I passed, and then we did the difference between the two for that. But I got him on the phone pretty quick before the meeting, and I'm like, this is what I'm looking like. He called me back, and I said, this is kind of what I'm looking at. I need a playground. You know, we want to have ADA equipment. That was the other thing that this bid had that the other didn't. The other one did not take into consideration the ramping. I think you have to have 12 feet, 12 inches for every foot that you're going for the ramps for the wheelchairs, which makes it kind of expensive to do that. He had it, the other one didn't. He had some two pieces that for like autistic children who can't communicate. He had some things for them that they could manipulate, move around. I think there was one pod on there that children that are sound sensitive and just don't do well with a lot of kids running around that they could crawl in, and there were some manipulatives in there. He had that. So those were things that were a little more ADA you know, approved, and since our population for handicapped children seems to be growing by leaps and bounds, we've almost doubled our population of autistic children in the last year. And it's not like double 2 to 4, it's like double from 6 to probably 13. It's been unbelievable how many kids that we have that are handicapped in the building, so.
Ms. Williams, with this increase in footage, is there any increase in the equipment that you're putting out there from what you did have?
Yes, from his, yes, it is.
How much would you say?
Probably another piece. He probably has another piece on there that's, he added. The pod was there, the swings were there. He had an extension coming out with a little thing the kids could play in. And then the larger piece of equipment. He added the other piece of equipment that's, I believe it's over to the right for that. So he added one other piece. It's not as large as the original because that one is the one that has all the ramps. The second one, it's almost like a transfer. He has a very low step, and then it comes up and there's another, so you could transfer somebody onto that piece of equipment. Say if they had like, they were a walker. We have several children that we've been teaching to walk, and we've got one little fellow that his walker, he couldn't walk at all last year. This year his walker can stay by the door and he can get from the car to the building. So somebody like that could actually get on this other piece. So it's very adaptive for all kinds of disabilities. Plus it lets them play with their peers because it's all peer accessible. Any of the other kids can play with them and they would remain safe. So that's what that piece is, but it is another one that's added.
Seem to be losing students. That's about the lowest the elementary school been in long. 500, I remember we said.
550? Since,
we losing.
that's about the average since
I know you couldn't get it back. We losing many kids for private schools.
No, I would say we have a great reputation, so a lot of non-resident students want to come to Northumberland. I believe Richmond County and Northumberland experienced that same influx. Regarding student enrollment, we're lower than we were, I would say, 20 years ago, but as in the last 10 years, we've pretty much hung tight with class sizes and what they're running.
Since I've been principal, that's about what we've run on average.
Well, we should begin to improve because we got Northumberland, one of the fastest growing counties around that people coming in here with got kids at school age.
A lot of kids in that building.
Martha's been telling me about that.
One other thing, bus drivers. Do we still? I remember when we had on adult besides the driver riding the bus? Do we still have that?
If we need to have an aide on the bus, we will go in that route, but many times we do not need an aide on the bus, so we don't just have an aide on every single bus,
Yeah,
unless
I
there's a need.
I remember
Typically,
time-
that would be a behavioral need that the bus driver
time
would
we had,
notify
one
us.
on each bus, you know, so you don't do that.
We do have a bus, if I can
Mhm.
interject in this, we do have a smaller bus that our children who have disabilities, children that, you know, need to have like a harness or restraint, we have a bus that they ride, and they get picked up and they leave a few minutes before the other buses load, so that they're separate, so that helps. And then we have some car drivers.
Mhm.
All right, any other questions from the board? All right, board want to make, let's see, y'all have put this in the CIP, haven't you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. All right. All right, ladies, we'll have to talk about this a little bit before we can make a decision. All right, anything else for these wonderful ladies tonight? Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Concert.
Next is an update from Virginia Department of Transportation. Mr. Beal?
Oh, boy. Man, we got some questions for you,
Now, just remember, I'm not asking you for any money tonight.
Sorry, that won't get you out of that. Go ahead.
All right, well, we've been busy. Dr. Wargo mentioned that the high school students, art students, painted the snow plow, so we were glad to partner with them, and thanks for all their effort on that. It looks great. I hope you were able to see it in the Calio Christmas Parade. We've also patched some potholes countywide. We trimmed brush on Mount Olive Road, Gagnon Road, Folly Road, Cone Church Road, Cone Stage Road, Forest Landing Road, and Sampson's Wharf Road. And we cleaned some ditches on Courthouse Road, and we've addressed work orders and incidents countywide. On the horizon, we still have a bunch of ditch cleaning planned. We have a pipe replacement still on Gagnon, and we'll keep up with potholes and work orders across the county. We also have some shoulder repairs to do on 360 and on Walnut Point Road and Cone Stage Road. The rest of the report, secondary six-year plan, remember Addie's Point, we plan to pull that off the secondary six-year plan in the spring. And then update on one of the scour repair project. They're currently working in Westmoreland. If all goes as planned with that job, they'll be mobilizing on 601 over Bushmill Creek in February, and that will involve a detour. But as we get closer to that, I'll give you a firmer date, and we'll advertise that detour before that happens. That's all I have for you all.
All right, any board members?
Go ahead, Mr. Long.
No, you go, you can go.
No, I was just gonna tell him that Chris Baggett was so excited to drive that snowplow through the parade Sunday that he made a comment to me that he wished not to be compensated for his time and that he is willing to give up the rest of his vacation this year. He'd drive that snowplow through the parade.
So noted.
Yep.
It's a good morale booster for everybody.
It is.
It's fun to
No,
see
but-
that. It's
but-
fun to be a part of it.
Just thank you for letting those guys participate in the parade. It was nice.
Before the apartments over in Wycomico, you know, right before you turn in there,
I'm sorry, you said is it post office?
no, right below the post office. It's some water that stay right in there. I don't know what caused it. It's right before you turn on Brownstow Road. Water's always in that area. Thank you. Can you give us an update on the meeting from last night? Short version.
Tuesday night, Norris Bridge.
Right.
So it was actually, I kind of got caught. I told my counterpart in Saluda, he'd been under the weather. And I told him, I was like, look, don't worry about coming. There's not going to be many people there. It's just a public hearing about environmental. And to my surprise, there were 214 people there. And that's not the design public hearing. That was just an environmental public hearing for part of the NEPA process for the environmental document. So we didn't talk about design of the bridge much. We didn't talk a whole lot about the schedule. We applied for a grant. So the bridge is going to cost, planning level estimate, a little over $600 million. We applied for a grant with FHWA that we'll hear back on in January for 50% of the funding. If we're able to get that funding, it will significantly move up the time frame of building the bridge. The current plan for funding is through the Special Structures Fund, which receives about 80 or 90-ish million dollars a year of state money, and there are about 25 structures in that plan. The Norris Bridge has been prioritized in that plan, but the total amount, the total $600-some million, is funded in 2036. So that's when our current plan is to build the bridge. But if we are able to get half that money early, that date could move up as soon as 4 or 5 years from now. So that was kind of, I think that's what you're most interested in from the meeting.
Yes.
There was some talk about oyster grounds and noise and other things, but
Lower than that.
still planning a 2-lane bridge, same height, same vertical clearance. There was some discussion about the 110 feet and what the Coast Guard would require. So, the tall boats could get underneath of it. So all that would remain the same. Vertical and horizontal clearance over the shipping channel would remain the same.
The new bridge will be east or west of the existing bridge?
Be upstream. So if you know where Willoughby's is, that Willoughby's parcel would be a total take. So the new alignment would go through the Willoughby's building.
So it depends. Go ahead.
So the current bridge remains in service while the new bridge is being built, so there won't be any, interruption as far as nobody being able to cross the river. There may be some flagging or delays associated with construction, but we're not going to shut down the bridge for any length of time.
How long will it take to build it?
I don't remember off the top of my head.
Build it as fast as Potomac River Bridge?
I would say, it's a similar concept, design build. Some of the same companies we hope will bid on it. So yeah, I would think it would be comparable. It's probably still a couple years. The big thing nobody likes about the Norris Bridge is narrow lanes and low rail. So obviously anything that we do build would meet the minimum standards, which would be 12-foot lanes, and I think it's a 42-inch rail. I think the existing rail is 32 inches. Don't quote me on those, but it's the new rail would be at least about a foot higher than the current rail. And you'd have at least a 4-foot shoulder on either side. So it'd be significantly wider.
The more extra money you get, move the years down over.
Mm-hmm. And that's the only thing we applied for in that grant. So we're optimistic.
Williams? Brian?
I don't have anything else.
Bishop? I'm okay.
All right.
Well, thank you for coming. Thank you for the update.
No problem.
And
Y'all have a Merry Christmas.
You too.
Merry Christmas, Steve.
Thank you.
All right, our next thing, let's take a 10-minute recess.
Sounds good. I didn't mind to call it this time. That's good.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll call this meeting back to order. I'm looking at the time of night. The next item on our agenda is the county administrator's reports. We have committee reports. We have board of supervisors items. What if we were to put them at the end of the meeting? Let's get public comments. And then we'll get public hearings taken care of.
Sure.
All right. Public hearing. I have, nobody has signed up on the public comment period. Anybody like to speak? Anybody like to speak in the public comment period? No one will speak tonight? What? All right, but anybody in the virtual world like to speak tonight? You have anybody online tonight? All right. Would anybody in the virtual world like to speak tonight on any issue? One more time. Anybody in the virtual world like to speak tonight? All right.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry, this speaking right now publicly, I'm here to listen to hear what happens, goes on with the rifle issue. Is that, so that's different than what we're talking about right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. If you want to talk about county taxes, anything?
You don't want to hear what I got to say.
Or you want to put some
I
more?
know you approve of it.
I approve.
Want to put some want to put something up for that bridge?
Yeah. All right, well, I'm going to close the public comment period, and we'll open our public hearings back up tonight. We have one that was tabled from last month on hunting with rifles. Headlock.
Yes, sir. The board held the public hearing on this matter last month, and you all wish to revisit this matter and look at some different language. You have a draft in your documents. The A was what was presented last month with the height being 8 foot, being from an elevated position in order to hunt with a rifle. B is new, and letter C is new for the informational purposes tonight. Now, if you go with what the language has in B, you could remove the letter A there. It's actually section BA on the screen there. However, the new section would read, rifles and pistols 23 caliber or larger with a maximum magazine capacity of 5 rounds for rifles and 6-round capacity for pistols may be used to hunt deer during the firearm deer season, provided the hunter is in an elevated stand at least 8 feet above the ground level and has first obtained written permission from the landowner. The rifle may have a round in its chamber only when it is on the elevated stand, except such weapon may be discharged on the ground when necessary to dispatch deer wounded from the elevated platform. That language came out directly from the book that was passed to the board last month. And then that's number 93 out of the numbering system from the book. The second part to that, no rifles for turkey hunting, and that also comes directly from the book number 73. That's just draft language. I wasn't sure how the board wanted to proceed with that. Any changes, more restrictive changes, we would need to re-advertise. B, does make it more restrictive than what we did advertise for last month, so we would need to re-advertise it for the January meeting.
Less restrictive would not require an advertisement, is that correct?
Correct. If
Correct.
you just stuck with what was previously advertised, which is subsection A, then no.
For purpose of interpretation, what does loaded mean? Does that mean one in the chamber or one in the magazine?
This,
And then what was the result of that conversation, sir?
I believe that DWR classifies loaded as
In the magazine. So magazine or chamber would be a loaded weapon.
so if we were to change it from in the chamber to a bullet in the weapon at all, in the magazine or chamber, we would have to re-advertise that, correct?
Yeah.
That would be more restrictive.
Well, I agree, yes. But right now, we allow hunting in Northumberland County, 5, 6 months of the year with the same weapon. You don't have to be in no tree. You stand right on the ground and shoot it. And they don't say anything but what's in the chamber or the magazine. And we haven't had any problems that I know of. Sheriff Beecham, you're sitting back there. Do you know of any high-powered rifle problems we've had in this county? I know we've had shotgun, but I don't know.
Is this a spot you're putting me on?
Just about. You're
Yeah.
almost
Yeah.
there. You're almost there.
As it deals with hunting, I do not recall high-powered rifle because they can't hunt with them. Other activities, there's a human element of not knowing what your backdrop is, things like that. That's all I can give you.
Okay.
You want to add something? Major, yeah.
Mr. Fisher, I believe you were talking, I can talk about it. Mr. Fisher, I believe what you're talking about is coyote hunting.
Yes.
And no, we haven't had any incidents involving the sheriff's office or DWR that I'm aware of while there have been sanctioned coyote hunts and are on the ground using our.
All right, any other comments?
So, Part B, that is saying that the hunter would need an additional permission to hunt with a rifle on the owner's land?
So the way we advertised it last month was Deer General Firearms Season A, rifles and pistols with a caliber greater than .23 shall be permitted for hunting of deer when hunting from an elevated platform at least 8 feet above ground level. And B, written permission from the landowner shall be obtained to hunt with a rifle or pistol on private land. So what this one does, it kind of combines both of those, but then it goes a step further and explains that you can only have a round in the gun when you're at the elevated position.
I don't know what you guys think. My 2 cents is that if you've gotten written permission from the landowner to be on his property anyway, you shouldn't need another permission to use a rifle.
And you don't need that other permission if you're hunting
Fox.
the 5 months of
coyote,
the year for
right.
coyotes and groundhogs. So why make this so much more stipulated, so much more regulated than what you've already got? And what you've already got is not hurting anything.
The only difference I see between the two is during general firearms, you're going to have more people in the woods.
There again, to counter that, you're going to be up in the air shooting down.
Agree.
Any other comments from the board? Well, if we include B, we're gonna have to re-advertise. Isn't that right, Mr. Tadlock?
That's correct.
So if we leave, the only difference in B I see is landowner permission like Mr. Williams said. And you're saying something about the, around in the chamber.
I don't see where you need a round in the magazine or the chamber before you get into elevated position. And I think it should be mandatory that you unload your weapon before you come down.
Good hunter will do that.
If the only time you can have it is when you're up there, then automatically you have to unload it when you come down. And that would take,
And that's out of the magazine also.
And this does provide a provision where in the event that the deer is wounded, it gives the permission for the hunter to use the rifle in that situation.
as long as that doesn't make a loophole to circumvent the law, I don't have any problem with that. Unlike Mr. Williams, though, I don't see why you need the extra permission when you've already got the permission. Are you going to go back to the hunting the other 5 months of the year and say those people who are hunting coyotes now need to go and get permission from the landowner before they can use a rifle? Are you going to do that?
All right. Any other comments from the board? Or what's the board's pleasure?
I'd like to see us re-advertise with the language that includes no bullet in the weapon, whether it be magazine or chamber, unless they're in the elevated position. And it would also include that you would not need to be, you would need not have an additional permission from the landowner to use a rifle on their property if you already had permission to hunt.
We're not with that language. With that language of not having the weapon charged, only to kill a deer, perhaps. The deer was wounded, you got it at the tree stand, you went down, and you could only put that bullet in when you were going to shoot that deer right then. But the first part of the weapon, first part of the paragraph that you're reading says you can't have any bullet in the gun unless you're in the tree.
Let's look at this thing a little different too. Black powder gun. A lot of people hunt at a tree stand with black powder. They may not have a cap in the gun, but they got a round in the, per se, the chamber. Okay, so that's kind of like climbing the stand with a loaded weapon. Let's look at this thing, a slug gun. We have slug guns here in the county. Don't have any restriction of climbing the tree stand with a slug in the gun or not in the gun. Same thing for a shotgun loaded with buckshot. That's how I'm kind of looking at it. I mean, I'm all for this. Whatever we can decide to do to get it passed for next year, I'm fine. But I'm just trying to look at the big picture, because you have a hunting accident with a gun discharging, going up and down the stand. Any gun is going to do harm. So.
DWR makes a distinction between what a loaded muzzleloader rifle is versus a firearm.
Okay.
Loaded muzzleloader is defined as a muzzleloading firearm is considered loaded when the muzzleloader is capped or has a charged pan or has a primer or battery installed in the firearm. Loaded firearms, as discussed before, defined as a firearm which is chambered or loaded in a magazine or clip and is engaged or partially engaged.
Well, gentlemen, let's get something straight on
Yes,
this.
like I said, I would agree to do whatever we get this thing approved for next year.
Well, we want to look at it for the safety of our citizens, but I'm not talking out of my mouth sideways, we don't need to make it too complicated either.
I mean, if we need to re-advertise it, to add that verbiage in it, let's do it. Let's get it squared away so we can get it in books for next year. I just think, for the hunters that want to rifle hunt, I think they would be satisfied just as long as they can get up a stand and be able to use a rifle.
Yeah, I think we should re-advertise. We got to not only look out for the people that shooting, we got to look out for the citizens. Safety is very important.
All right, what y'all want to do?
I'm gonna make a motion that we go ahead and re-advertise it.
Second.
All right, we got a, excuse me, we got a motion and a second to re-advertise.
What should change in the verbiage that you want?
Are you re-advertising as it is up there, or what?
Mr. Williams, you were commenting on the part about the loaded weapon. What's your opinion on that now?
My opinion is you don't need a round in the gun at all, whether it be chambered or in the magazine.
Until you get up in the tree stand. But you will be allowed to put one in when you get on the ground to get rid of the deal.
Finish an animal.
That's fair enough. That's what I'm thinking.
And
All right, restate your motion then.
I restate the motion as re-advertising it, and the wording be put in to where the weapon will only be loaded when you're up in the tree stand, or when you're going to do away with an animal that's wounded on the ground. Does that come into play?
Mr. Gregory?
Well, with deference to the board and Mr. Tadlock, I think subsection B, as on the screen before you, as submitted by Mr. Tadlock, would achieve those goals. So you would direct staff to re-advertise the ordinance as amended, striking existing subsection A, and advertise the ordinance with subsection B, considered for adoption in January. You talked about the permission, written permission from the landowner. You could strike that clause if you wanted to achieve that. Food for thought is that I'm not so sure that this requires an additional permission to be granted. Hunter just has to first obtain a written permission.
Regular permission, yes, of course,
Right?
of course.
So if they have that, then they don't need to get an additional permission, they already have that. They first obtain that.
I think the confusion was that Richmond County just passed a similar ordinance where they did require an additional permission. Am I correct in saying that?
It was either Richmond or, was it King, Queen, or King George? One of the other localities that correct, they spoke about last month.
This just says, and has first obtained written permission from the landowner. It doesn't say first obtained written permission from the landowner. But if you have concerns about that, you could just strike that clause. And has first obtained written permission from the landowner. Like that.
That's what I would be in favor of.
It's fine.
All right, so you want to strike that part? Mr. Tadlock?
The only addition to that was letter C there, that no rifles for turkey hunting, whether the board wants to include that or not.
Well, that's standard right now, isn't it?
We currently do not have that.
Do you want to add that to your motion, add section C to it?
Well, we need to discuss that a little bit, real quick. What is the point of that being there now?
We have a motion on the floor right now.
I don't quite understand what that's there
That,
for.
that was in some of the original language that was being proposed to the board, so that was the only reason
By
that.
us,
No, when the request was made.
when the request was made. Leave it in there then.
All right.
Correct. I don't know if that's.
That was what was puzzling to me.
Well, we can leave it in there and then strike it at the public hearing. That would be less restrictive, and then we can.
You could advertise that. Continue to consider it, see what people say, and then later if you want.
Now, which part you talking about?
C.
Subsection C.
C.
Rifles for turkey hunting.
Okay. Right now, we're striking A,
Correct.
Right.
keeping B and C, and striking the part about the landowner written permission again. All right. All right, we got a motion and a second. Any other discussion on this?
Yes, so just so I'm clear, what are we doing about a round in the weapon? As presented, okay. I don't think it does. That's allowing one round in the chamber, but nothing in the well, no, nothing in the chamber, but rounds in the magazine. And
Let's see here.
according to what you read from the state,
You're correct. Okay, so you're correct. So it says the rifle in particular in the chamber. So you could, if you wanted to be more compliant or more consistent with the DWR definition of a loaded firearm, you could say, make a change, say the rifle may be loaded only when it is on this elevated stand, except such weapon may be discharged on the ground when necessary. Yeah, okay, so the only change would be strike, rifle may, strike, have a round in the chamber. That would,
right,
the rifle may be loaded only when it is on the elevated stand.
I think that would be clearer because DWR defines what a loaded weapon is, and that's in the magazine or the chamber.
And
And that would also
yes, that would cover.
muzzle loaders and modern.
Probably be less apt to have someone try to circumvent the law too if they're not walking around with a loaded on the ground, loaded weapon on the ground. When I say loaded, one in the magazine.
Mr. Tadlock, can you read what you have?
Give me 1 second.
3, 2.
I'm glad this is for next year's hunting season.
Almost over with this year.
So really. Okay. Rifles and pistols 23 caliber or larger with a maximum magazine capacity of 5 rounds for rifles and 6 round capacity for pistols may be used to hunt deer during the firearms deer season, provided the hunter is in an elevated stand at least 8 feet above ground level, period. So we're taking out that part about the landowner. The rifle may be loaded only when it is on the elevated stand, except such weapon may be discharged on the ground when necessary to dispatch deer wounded from the elevated platform. And then C, no rifles for turkey hunting.
What are you saying, that you can hunt turkeys from an elevator?
No.
No, no rifles.
No turkey hunting with
No
rifle.
turkey hunting.
Okay, that's what I want to make sure.
All right. All right, board satisfied with that?
Yes. Can I make a motion?
We got one motion on the floor right now.
Did we include
With that
anything?
language?
With that language?
With that language.
With that language into it now, I guess it's been-
Amended, or
It's been amended.
been amended?
Sir? It hasn't been seconded as amended.
I'll second it,
All
as
right.
amended.
Been seconded as amended now. All right, any other discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against? All right. All right, Mr. Tadlock, I guess we got that taken care of for you.
Didn't have to re-advertise.
No,
That's,
we are
Yeah, we have to re-advertise.
in January.
okay.
Yep, this is coming back again. All right. The next is a request by Roger M. Evans, Jr. Mr. Morris?
Yes, sir. We have a request by Roger M. Evans Jr., owner, for a conditional use permit to allow construction of a boathouse on property zoned R2 residential waterfront. The property is shown as tax map parcel 11-1-29C and is located at 485 Clark Lane.
All right, Mr. Evans, would you like to come on up and tell us about your project, sir?
Good evening, fellas.
Good evening, sir.
All right. Yes, I'm just trying to put a boat cover over my boat, over the boat lift itself. And that's pretty much all I want to do. Everything else is done but that.
All right, board members have any questions for Mr. Evans? I see you already have some poles all in place, Mr. Evans.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
The guy driving the poles, he was in the neighborhood doing my neighbor's dock over there where he built a cover over his boat. And while he was in the neighborhood, I got him to do the pilings while he's there because he's hard to get in my neighborhood if he's not there already.
Yeah, I see you already had the poles in place.
Was that before the permit was issued?
Was that before your permit was issued?
I had a permit for the dock.
No, the poles are for the boathouse, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so were the poles driven before the permit was issued?
Well, I've not been issued a permit yet for that boathouse.
So they were driven
That's what I'm
prior,
trying to do. Yes, they were.
prior to getting a permit?
Were the poles in question part of the original dock permit?
Yes.
That looks odd.
Well, any other comments from the board before open public hearing? Or Mr. Evans, you have any other comments that you'd like to make?
No, sir. I just think everybody here already knows the situation and the story, so.
So, let me just clarify one thing, is the question Mr. Fisher asked you, in your original dock permit, you were given permission to drive the pilings for the boathouse?
No, I had my original permit for the dock would have, according to the Virginia Marine Commission, would have covered those. For the
All
boat
right.
cover itself, as I had to go to the county to get the permit to build that. They had no issue with the driving the pilings out there first. He said I was good to go for that, but to build the cover itself, I had to go get the permit through the county.
Okay. All right, any other questions for Mr. Evans? All right, if not, I'll open the public hearing. And Mr. Evans, we'll get you to come back up if we have any more questions, sir.
Mr. Chairman, would you like staff to read the request?
Yes, I would like staff to read your request.
On the November 21st Northumberland County Planning Commission meeting, there was a motion to recommend the Evans Jr. Boathouse request with the suggested conditions to the Board of Supervisors, and it was seconded and the vote was unanimous, so the motion passed.
Okay. Any other comments or anything made during the meeting?
No, they seem to think that that it was a reasonable request, and it wouldn't really affect anybody's views. His neighbor upstream came and said that he was okay with the boathouse, even though it would obstruct his views. So his neighbor on one side was okay with it, but the neighbor downstream is the one who objected. From the aerial photograph, it seemed like there was vegetation and trees blocking that view. So they thought that he deserved the boathouse.
Okay. All right. Any board members have any questions for Mr. McKenzie? All right. Thank you, sir. All right, I'll open the public hearing. First person I have on the sign-up sheet is Rick Conway.
Thank you, sir. I'm Rick Conway, and I'm the fellow that the gentleman just spoke about, next door neighbor to Roger. I'm the only house further to the end of the creek from Roger's house. I'm certainly not the one who objected. I'm the one who has no objection at all. And mine would be the only home that would have any type of obstruction as a result of the construction of the boathouse. The other person that was mentioned lives, I think, like you said, upstream towards the river. And so I have no objection. Roger has been a great neighbor, and I've offered to help him build it if he needs it. He helps everybody else in the neighborhood. And so hope you all will approve his request.
All right, Mr. Conway, thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, next person I have is Roger Evans, and you know you just spoke, and you probably signed up on the wrong sheet. All right. Anyone else like to speak on this issue? Anyone else like to speak on this issue? All right. Would anyone in the virtual world tonight like to speak on this issue of Mr. Evans's boathouse? Anyone in the virtual world tonight like to speak on the issue of Mr. Evans's boathouse? Got anyone? All right. I will close the public hearing and the matters before the board. Does the board have any other questions? I haven't had the conditions read yet. Mr. Marston, would you read the conditions, sir, please?
Yes, sir. Suggested conditions, if approved, are that all required permits and/or licenses shall be obtained from all appropriate regulatory agencies, including but not limited to Virginia Marine Resources Commission. The boathouse shall be constructed as shown on the revised joint permit application dated July 1st, 2024, as received by Virginia Marine Resources Commission. And non-compliance of any of these conditions shall result in this permit to come back before the Board of Supervisors for possible revocation.
What about lighting?
Yeah. What about lighting, Mr. Marston? Usually you have all lighting is, what, downward?
We do have, I could put all lighting directed downward. Typically, we include that with non-reflective, but that's tough on the water.
Yeah, I know it's tough on water not to be reflective.
Yes, sir.
And I would imagine Mr. Evans would probably want some lighting down Board want to add that in?
We need to be
Is
consistent.
there lighting on the existing dock now? Do we know?
I don't remember seeing any.
There's electricity on it.
There's electricity on it for the boat lift and all. Solar lights, solar lights are down on the decking, but I didn't see anything up above. Yeah, just the solar lights there, laying on the decking. Nothing else.
Just for clarification, that's not something that typically we've put on other applications that I'm aware of, but we can certainly add that if that's the board's.
I was just looking at him not having an issue with someone being opposed down the road.
And
But I'm fine.
No, we can certainly add it if that's what the board wishes to do.
also, we didn't have anything about a fire extinguisher. Don't we usually have that on there?
It's included with the building permit, so when the
Oh,
building, when
included
they
with
go
the
out to
building
do an
permit.
inspection,
All right,
they verify
good
that
enough.
that's there.
Good enough. I just want him to have some safety there in case he does need it.
Yes, sir.
Hopefully, he doesn't need it.
We just have the one letter of opposition. Is that all the county's aware of?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, one letter of opposition.
I don't know if you guys noticed or not when you went, but that property owner has, there's vegetation that separates both properties. And also, the opposing property owner has a fire pit and chairs that are facing out the creek. I think there must be a little something else going on between the property owners, and I just can't understand why that property owner would be opposed to this. They're not going to be looking up the creek, and it's not going to be obstructing their view.
Sounds like sour grapes.
Yeah.
Well, any other discussion, gentlemen?
No.
All right, I'd like to make a motion that we approve this request with the conditions.
Second.
Mr. Chairman, just for clarification, yeah,
I'm sorry.
we will need that read, but
Yeah.
does the board wish to add the additional condition about lighting for any future, this one and any future
Yeah,
boat
I was
houses?
going to add that in there. Let me back up on my motion. I'm going to withdraw that motion, and I'm going to make this motion now. This motion is made in due consideration of the public health and safety, the general welfare of the community, public necessity, convenience, and in the exercise of good zoning practices and in pursuit by the statutory authority. Now, my motion is to approve this application for the boathouse with the conditions that were read and also with the condition of all lighting would be downward. Mr. Gregory, is that okay? All right, I have a motion and I have a second by Mr. Long. All right, any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against? All right. Mr. Evans, you all straight, sir? Thank you, sir. Merry Christmas to y'all. All right. That's all our public hearings. Now, we can go back to our county administrator's report. Mr. Tadlock?
Yes, sir. Real quickly, for the permits for November, we had 6 new structures. Total construction cost of $4.6 million. For the month, total construction cost year-to-date, $62.1. We have approximately $6.1 million above this time last year. I have the abstract of votes from the 2024 November general held election on November 5th. For President, Kamala Harris, 3,202 votes. Donald Trump, 4,938 votes. Jill Stein, 21. Chase Oliver, 24. Claudia De La Cruz, 13. Cornel West, 7. Total write-ins, 27. For Senate, Tim Kaine, 3,253. Hung Cao, 4,912. Total write-ins, 7. For House of Representatives, 1st District, Leslie Maida, 2,805. Robert Whitman, 5,319. Total write-ins, 23. For Member Town Council, Kilmarnock, May Umflett, 14. Mike Bedell, 14. Alice Cooper, 12. And 0 write-ins. For the proposed constitutional amendment, total yes votes 7,517, total no votes 485. Next item I have is reappointment of Joey Self to the Community Policy and Management Team.
He's agreed to do this?
As far as I know, yes.
All right, motion to approve Joey Self.
Second.
All right, got a motion, a second. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against? All right.
Next item I have is a supplemental appropriation for the ball games worked by deputies to line item 3102, 1006, in the amount of $1,505.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We got a motion and a second to approve. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those against?
All right, next item we have, Mr. Headley has submitted several quotes for tough books for the sheriff's office. These items, we have monies in the current IT budget for this cost. The low estimate is $11,646.92, and we would just need board action to move forward with that.
All right, what's the pleasure of the board?
Motion that we move forward.
Second it.
All right, got a, excuse me, got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against? All right.
All right, last couple of items. Staff is still working on the trash site pass policy procedures, and we hope to get that to the board soon. Mr. Todd Thomas, Commissioner of Revenue, and I met with Pearson's appraisal group yesterday. I just want to make everyone aware that, one, the reassessment is currently going on, and the vehicles that are visiting each of the properties should be marked with reassessment, and the individuals should be identified. If there's anybody that has concerns, please call the County Administrator's Office, Commissioner of Revenue, or the Sheriff's Office. Little Wacomico dredging update. From what I understand, the survey work is completed. Mr. Mansfield is coordinating with Army Corps of Engineers, Baltimore District, to make sure they're up to date on the matter. And we are proceeding, and when I say we, the county, the Northern Neck Planning District Commission, and Mr. Mansfield are looking to make application to the Virginia Port Authority in the spring for monies to actually do the dredging of the Little Wacomico. So just wanted to let you know we are still working on that matter.
So the Virginia Port Authority is making it through the Baltimore group?
No, so because of the location, part of that falls within the Baltimore Army Corps of Engineers.
Yeah.
So we are working with them to make sure with all the permitting and everything. Virginia Port Authority is a separate group that we are working with. We've received funding from them in the past for the studies and so forth. What we are looking at doing is, because there's Army Corps of Engineers funding in the Baltimore group, a lot of that funding went to the bridge collapse.
Yeah.
So we don't have those monies to fall back on. So now what we are looking at is trying a different avenue in securing funding to do the dredging. And that would be one of those opportunities is through the Virginia Port Authority. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Next is committee reports.
Mine was the library deal. I asked Ms. Blue to come and present tonight, so that was
All right, that was a good
part of my
report.
committee report.
All right. Anyone else have anything? All right. Mr. McKenzie had given the report from the Planning Commission, so what happened? What do you say?
You know, breakdown of the structures
Hold,
from the districts.
hold on just a little bit. We can let you do that in public comment, board comment.
He went over it, I just wanted to make sure that.
All right. What was your question?
Breakdown of the structures in each district. You used to go over there, you didn't go over. I mean, we had so many built this past month, but you didn't tell what area they were built in.
Yes, sir. So typically what we do, we just give an overview each month, and then at the end of the year, we have an end-of-the-year report completed by the Planning Commission. So Mr. McKenzie will be working on that after the year ends. And typically the Planning Commission reviews that and sends that report to the Board of Supervisors, and that will outline all of the areas in the county where the construction is taking place.
Okay, Mr. Long? All right, next is the Board of Supervisors items. We have approval of the check register.
Move that we approve the check register.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Got a motion to second. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those against? All right. Board comments. Mr. Williams.
Only to thank Morgan for coordinating the Christmas tree lighting. Lived here my whole life, and I've never been to it. I'm ashamed to say that, but my family and I had a fun evening. It was nice. We appreciate your efforts.
Done a good job.
Good.
My youngest had two hot apple ciders and 2 hot chocolates, and she would kill me if she knew I told that in public. But she enjoyed it also. So thank you.
Good. Mr. Long?
Yes, have we worked it out with the school board about the building?
I have not heard back from the legal counsel on
This has been going on a long time.
Waiting on him.
I wanted to ask her tonight, but I didn't.
It's not us holding them up.
Okay, how about the old school board office, Mr. Tyler, how we coming along?
Again, we just need to set a meeting. The board has started discussion of the properties. So we just need to return to those discussions, set a meeting.
That's been going on a long time too. I think we need to come to a conclusion on that. Okay, how about the county ordinance? County ordinance, our ordinance as a county, we don't have one, right? It's not up to date?
Regarding which items?
Okay, I know we're still working on the one for for hiring, right?
That's been completed.
Been completed.
Yes, sir.
That all you have, Mr. Long? Mr. Bryan?
UHY. When is that? I thought we agreed last month to put that thing out there and get it released. Where we at?
We did. I had a supervisor contact me with some additions. So instead of having that put out without those additions, I've contacted Heather with UHY and actually had contact with her today. They are making those modifications. Actually, they have a meeting tomorrow to make those modifications. And we do need to select some dates. I did hear back from Jack Reagan, and he had asked us to provide them some dates that they could look at.
All right, and I see you got a response back from the county auditor about having an individual replaced, and they're kind of saying that it's not a good time. But I don't mean no harm, and I'm going to say what I say. When I brought that up on my behalf, it was not an option for him to stay on. I just think they need to put someone else in here to finish the audit for the year. That's just me. I don't know how the rest of the board feels. I feel that they work for us. We're not working for them. And I understand it may be a little inconvenient for them, but we've put in a couple of requests, and they don't seem to want to honor those requests. One of them was to talk to this gentleman, and we got the email back saying he didn't have time. Well, don't have time. We don't have time for you to be here.
But it has time to cash that check.
Yeah, that's right.
Just, I guess, some clarification. He was or is currently out on site doing other audits. He did indicate that he would be available by phone call if the board wished to entertain that. But no, I mean, if the board wishes to put that in a form of a motion to have a separate team work on that, just realize that will delay our audit, which is already delayed, but that will delay it even longer.
What do y'all think?
When did he say he would be available
I just hate to delay the audit.
to talk to us? I thought that's what you said.
He said that he could talk to the board by phone while he's out in the field, or in person once they come to the county to work on the audit itself. Right now, Mary Earhart hasn't finalized her portion to hand over to Robinson Farmer Cox.
Getting paid, right?
Well, he gets paid.
Can't understand it. Man, this guy getting paid.
I'm not much on this phone call. I want to be eyeball to eyeball. I want to see face to face.
Y'all know where I stand. It's up to y'all. I'll agree with whatever y'all want to do, but
I don't know how everybody else feels, but I know how he did a lady in one of the meetings we had. He was not very professional. And I think that's what started it right there. So, but that's up to the board, whatever y'all want to do.
yep.
Follow your lead on this one, Jimmy.
What was that, Chip?
I just follow your lead on this one. I wasn't in that meeting.
Jim and I sat in on that meeting.
And you said the audit's already going to be delayed some. Why is that? Because they've got others ahead of us already?
They've got others, well, Mary Earhart's group does the preliminary work for us.
Okay, so.
And then, yeah, it's,
So they haven't even started on that audit?
they've started preliminary work. They've already started gathering information, what they can gather from the school and the county.
Is that Mary Earhart or
Both.
Robinson Farmer Cox?
Both groups.
Both groups?
Both groups have.
All right.
And that was the concern that Robinson Farmer Cox had, was that the team had already started preliminaries. So then bringing in a different group or different team, they would have to pick up, revisit everything, and go from there.
He's saying he can talk to us on the phone, right?
That's what Mr. Stover indicated. Yes, sir.
Why can't we set up a meeting for him? I think we need to start something rolling here. The guy's getting paid.
Up to y'all, gentlemen, whatever y'all want to do. Mr. Fisher, you haven't said too much.
No, whose fault, if you were going to say somebody was at fault because they're delayed, who would that fault fall on right now?
Well, what Robinson Farmer Cox is waiting on Mary Earhart's group to finalize the pre-audit.
Did they have a pre-agreement to have certain things done at certain times?
No.
Well, that was one mistake right there.
Well,
On somebody's part.
what's her problem? I mean, have you talked to her recently?
They just have so many clients. I mean, it's just one of the
Maybe they need less
Thanks.
one.
Yeah, well, honestly, that may be a reason to look elsewhere.
Or to switch your team.
Right.
They've got too many clients, and I'm not sure right now's the time to do it, but
I don't think that's a good excuse. We still paying them, so, you know.
no, it's not a good excuse. It's
All
not-
right,
it's
is
not a
Mary
good excuse.
Earhart having trouble getting information? Is that process slowed down, or is it, or has she been, or is the information she's requested readily available to her?
I'm sorry, I missed the question.
Mary Earhart, has she had problems getting information? Has there been a snail's trail of it coming to her?
I don't believe she's had problems receiving the information. You've got to understand, Mary Earhart is a consultant who, we don't have anybody on staff that prepares our
Yeah,
audit
doesn't
for
prepare,
for
yeah.
Robinson Farmer Cox. That was an issue in Robinson Farmer Cox's audits quite a few years ago, that we never had the audit prepared for them to audit us. So that's why the county went out and received Mary Earhart's services to prepare our books for Robinson Farmer Cox to audit, so they could completely audit us, totally separate from what, because they were actually trying to pull the information together and then audit us. So to separate that, they asked us to
I
have
can understand
a
that, yeah.
pre-audit. So, but, no, I mean, and she has gone in with a Robinson, I forget the firm's name.
Yeah, that's right, her company's been bought out.
Correct.
And I know Mary gets her the information as soon as she requests it. She probably has it there before she even asks for it.
Mary Dodson?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yeah, actually.
I know she has it ready.
Actually, Mary had the information uploaded prior to receiving one of the documents.
Yeah, that's
And
what I thought.
then she provided the document, and there was maybe, one or two items that were needed, and she went on and
Yeah.
uploaded those. So, yeah, there's no problem on the county side.
Oh, I know it's not any problem on that side.
And Gail from the treasurer's office uploads her information.
Well, it's up to the board, whatever the board wants to do.
You got two choices, either get a new team in here now, or he comes in and presents himself like he has in the past, and have it replaced him, so it's gonna be less confusion, less disruption, because not gonna.
What would the repercussions be to our staff if we made that change now?
Tadlock, you have an answer to that question?
Again, it would be a delay and a mark on the county for a delayed audit, because the longer you delay the audit, the APA reports to the General Assembly on the status of the audit of the counties. And December 15th, is it December 15th? That is when the audit is technically due. So we already have to write a response to why our audit will be delayed now. But the longer that is delayed, the worse that looks on the county's behalf.
All right, but isn't the reason we're being delayed now is because of the workload the other two have, Robinson Cox and Mary Earhart?
The workload, yes, and yeah, they've got workloads that they are trying to put pre-audits together for various firms, not only Robinson Farmer Cox. They do this across the state.
All right, so why is the county being penalized for something when it's not our problem?
Well, they knew they had that load. Professional, they should have told us that, look, we have the load and we'll give you someone else's contact.
Yeah,
Hey, that makes sense.
I think you're seeing it all over. I don't think it's not just Northumberland
It's
County.
everywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, if we switch
That's all.
auditors, not companies, but auditors,
The team.
we're gonna be delayed even more. So if we keep this guy for now, have someone next time, or have another company next time, whichever we wanna do,
We won't put it back in for bid.
then we could proceed on and hopefully not get penalized anymore.
Again, there's no promise that we won't. It's the nature of them auditing the localities.
Okay, well, let's do this.
All right,
Just leave it alone. If we have an issue with this individual, we'll make changes.
all right, do you wanna talk to him now?
We already have an issue, Jimmy. It's already an issue.
Already got issues.
Right.
It's, it seems that, don't nobody want to move forward changing this. I'm all for it. Get a new team in here. Got some staff would send you a thank you card.
Well, I'll go along with whatever y'all wanna do.
All the other local counties coming along on this.
They're having the same issues. It's a delay. They got so many counties that they're trying to get taken care of, and it's so few people offering these services. So it is a delay everywhere. Everybody's facing this.
Can I ask for Mary Dodson's input on this?
Yeah, you certainly can.
I'm asking anyway. Let's
Yeah.
have it. Lay it on us.
What do you want to know? Excuse me.
How would you be affected in your office if we made that change now?
Right now, we've got our stuff uploaded. The treasurer's office and me have the stuff uploaded that they have requested, both auditors. The consultant is uploaded. Robinson Farm House has been uploaded. The only thing that is going to prolong is when the second team comes in, or when Mary Earhart's team. Let me back up. Mary Earhart's team will be emailing us questions and questions and questions, or if they need additional documentation for clarification on things we've uploaded. Once they've completed theirs, then Robinson Farmer Cox, which has mine and I'm pretty sure Gail McCoy, she pretty much has all of hers uploaded as well to them. Once they've got the complete from the consultant, then that's going to roll back to when they're coming here, and that's when they're going to ask for paper documentation for things we could not upload. So the timing is going to be whatever we've got going on at the time of any delay. So normally in December, it would be our normal December stuff. If it rolls to January, that's going to bombard me more and Gail more because we've got other things going on that we have set for each month. Like W-2s, 1099s, that's going to be my big impact in January, along with everything else. February, it would slow back, and then if they come in February, with whoever that y'all decide to go with is wanting, then that would be an easier time. It all just depends on when they decide they're coming in to do the final. They've already been here, like Russell said, they've already been here, done the preliminary, they did that in May. So they've already, Robinson Farmer Cox has already done the May preliminary part. So it's two phases of it. It's the preliminary where they come in and get a bunch of stuff, start working on it. Then the consultant comes in, gets her stuff, starts working on it. And then when she's finished, it's final, then they come in and get the rest of
because it's the rest of the fiscal year in. So it just depends on the month that they're gonna come in, it could impact, so it's hard to say. But that knowing what month it would do, it's hard to say what impact that kind of would really have. But everything Mr. Cadillac said is, it's all in the auditors, statewide. I think they have a hard time getting people to work just like everybody else does.
Right.
Probably right, man.
Thank you.
It's a lot of steps, it's a lot of phases to what we have to go through for the different steps.
Would a different team have a even more impact on what you got going on?
Right now, yes.
Okay.
Because as it was explained, if they have to send in another team to complete what one team has already started, they've got to come in with a new set of eyes and look at everything that was previously looked at to catch up to speed to what they're going to be doing in the final.
Okay.
Am I right in saying that, Russell, explaining that part of it?
Yeah,
In the final,
the
if
way,
we switch teams.
the way the other gentleman that I spoke to at Robinson Farmer Cox, that's what he had indicated, that typically they don't like pulling one team off and bringing a new team in a mid-audit, just because it causes a lot of confusion on their end of what has been done, then having to go back and review everything. So it's additional time, cost, and everything.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but if we go with another team now, we have to wait till they have finished everything that all the teams have been assigned to already, because they're assigned different places. So they have to wait till they're finished. All those teams have to wait till they're finished before they can find somebody to come to finish ours.
All right.
And now next year, depending on what y'all do, y'all can switch on your team.
Leave it like it is.
I think so too for the time being.
But just, if there are any issues, it's going to be a change.
I agree. Keep a good eye on it.
All right, gentlemen, that's what y'all want to do?
Yeah.
All right. Anything else, Mr. Bryan?
Yeah, one quick playground. It's apparent that the playground is coming at a big cost, and we've stated several times that we're not going to re-spend money that's been spent once before, so we need to make that clear. We haven't made that clear. And if that's the case, we need to look at trying to see if the school would look at downsizing this playground. Originally, it was 5,400 square feet, $372,000, and it's increased to 9,000 square feet. I agree that the kids need a playground. The amount of kids in the school system, I don't know. I can't judge on what the school's basing it all on. But do they need that big a playground for the amount of kids that they have? If we could put something in there, even if we had to do it in phases, and get something in there for these kids would be better than nothing. But I think the board's pretty much in agreement that we're not going to spend the federal funds again, because they've been reimbursed back to the county. I was kind of looking at what they had left over, if they had anything left over for year-end money on their budget. And if they did have something, maybe put that toward the playground. And maybe that would give some incentive to try and have something left over each year to put back into the playground. But as I stated before, I'm not in favor of spending the reimbursement funds twice.
It's not fair to the taxpayer.
I understand where you're coming from, but you still gotta look out for the kids.
Absolutely.
Kids, it's not the kids' fault, right? It's,
That's why I'm trying to offer up some type of solution to the problem. So, you know, they come to us, they talk to us, and we didn't give any reply back. And we need to start trying to come up with a reply back, something that's, give them something to work with. Of course, we don't know what the year-end leftover is gonna be because I haven't heard from the auditor.
Well, they should be able to tell us how much money's left over in the account right now. Used to be able to get a figure. It's been year closed out in June, end of June.
Yeah.
Here it is December, and they can't tell us how much money is left over.
Maybe it ain't none.
Oh, hey, they're gonna spend it one way or the other, but something's wrong down there. Something really is.
That's all I got.
All right, Mr. Fisher?
I want to thank the board for working with the sheriff's department. I think that's a good thing what we did tonight. That's a win-win situation for the citizens of this county as well as the sheriff's department. It wins all the way around. I want to say thank you very much. I think Mr. Sheriff Beecham did a fine presentation. Thank you, sir. Mr. Luttrell, we were going to check on adjoining counties and refuge situations with stickers, tags, or whatever. Did we look into that anymore? Are we still pending on that?
I did, and that's what I was referring to earlier when I made the statement that we were still trying to finalize that policy procedures for those tags. Yes, sir.
And we are working on lighting for the Route 200.
Yes, sir. Mr. Albright had gotten some information regarding that, and I just need to get up with you with those items.
And thank you for your help on the Sandy Point boat landing. That turned out real well so far.
Yes, sir.
Thank you
No,
for that.
Mr. Albright, I think helped you with that.
Very helpful indeed, yes. That's all I have, sir.
All right. Tree lighting service went very good. We had a little over 150 people there. A little cool, but we still had a good turnout. And really want to thank Morgan for all the work she's put into it. And she was a big asset in making it turn out very well. She did a wonderful job.
Looks very nice.
Yep.
Very nice.
That's all I have. I'm not gonna keep on tonight. All right.
Oh, go ahead, it's all right.
Yeah, we all want to get home. All right. Only thing we have left is to convene into a closed meeting.
Sir, I need a motion that the Northumberland County Board of Supervisors convene in closed meeting pursuant to Virginia Freedom of Information Act, Section 2.2, 3711A1, for the discussion and consideration of personnel matters, 2.2, 3711A3, for the discussion or consideration of the potential acquisition of real property for a public purpose, or of the potential disposition of publicly held real property, where discussion in open meeting would adversely affect the board's bargaining position or negotiating strategy. And Section 2.2, 3711A29, discussion of the award of public contract involving the expenditures of public funds, including interviews of bidders or offers, and discussion of terms of scope of such contract where discussion in open session would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy of the public body. Invited to attend the closed meeting as necessary are the county administrator, county attorney, and assistant county administrator as they are deemed necessary in their presence. will reasonably aid the board in its consideration of the topics to be discussed pursuant to Virginia FOIA Section 2.2, 3712F.
All right, motion, please.
Motion made.
Second. Motion is second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now in closed meeting. Thank you all for coming.
A motion that the Northumberland Board of Supervisors return to public meeting and certify by roll call vote that only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by the Virginia Freedom of Information Act and as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered during the closed meeting.
All right, can I have a motion?
Motion made.
All right, got a second?
Second.
All right, roll call vote. Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Mr. Long? Aye. Mr. Brand?
Aye.
Mr. Fisher?
Aye.
Mr. Haney? Aye. Now we are out of closed meeting. And Mr. Tadlock needs some motions here, sir.
The first one I need is regarding Package 5 that was advertised for the septic field at the school, to award that Package 5 to Power and Flow Solutions in the amount of $332,060.
All right, can I have a motion?
Motion to approve package 5 toward, was it Power and
Power and Flow
Power and Flow
Solutions.
All right.
Solutions in the amount of $332,060.
All right, can I have a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye. Next motion I need is to appoint Jerry Rushing, building official for Northumberland County, effective December 16th, 2024, with a salary of $60,495, and that is contingent upon a $10,000 increase once he obtains all certifications and becomes certified as a building official.
Motion to approve Mr. Rushing's hire.
All right, got a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against? All right, anything else you need, Mr. Tadlock?
I think that's it.
All right, anybody got anything else before I ask for a motion to adjourn?
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Happy New Year.
All right, motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn. Second.
Second. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Merry Christmas to all.